Okay, new polls show the honeymoon is over for Kamala Harris. Well, that was fast. President Trump, he's now at a record 51% approval rating. He never hit 51% when he was president. And look at this, 50% disapprove of Kamala Harris. Also that's in a Wall Street Journal poll. Now, Trump is leading Harris within the margin of error in the battleground states of Michigan, Pennsylvania. One of the poll has him tied in Wisconsin. He's leading on the issues, too. He's leading Harris in the Quinnipiac, New York Times, and CNN polls. And in the Hill and Decision Desk aggregate of 7 dozen polls, Trump is leading Kamala Harris. Let's bring in House Oversight Chairman James Comer. Great to have you back on, sir. So voters, it's good to see you again. Voters are now focusing hard on the Biden-Harris legacy in fixing America. What are Kamala Harris's policies to stop historic inflation, stop the war on energy and gas cars, and stop the historic border crisis? Because we have terrorists and criminals and unvetted individuals pouring across. What's the policy issue here? Answer, rather.
Well, it's the Biden-Harris administration. So we've heard Kamala Harris, when she was a candidate for president, say that she was against fracking, she was against drilling, she was against fossil fuels in general. That's not popular in swing states like Pennsylvania. It's not popular with the American people who are having to pay more for gasoline than they did when Donald Trump was president. Her record as borders are has been abysmal. I mean, our borders wide open, which has led to an influx of population that's drained our public school dollars. It's drained our Medicaid dollars. It's increased crime. And look, I don't think there's anything Kamala Harris has done but add to inflation, because she supported every Democrat policy that Joe Biden and Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer have stuffed down the throats of the American people in the name of COVID and after COVID, when they wanted to pass their so-called Inflation Reduction Act, which actually increased inflation. And that's what every American's most upset about, I think, this election, is the fact that every time they go to the grocery store, it costs more. Every time they go fill up their car with gas, it costs more. And that's because of Joe Biden and Kamala Harris.
We should also point out a sizable 92% of voters in a new YouGov poll say that Kamala Harris was in on the cover-up of Biden's cognitive decline. You know, people are mad about that, Chairman. There's also this, Kamala Harris is now campaigning on Biden's go nowhere Supreme Court reform. Many are saying that's dead on arrival in Congress. You need, it's a constitutional amendment. You got to change the Constitution. That requires 2/3 of Congress and 3/4 of the states. So that's their policy, term limits for justices? Go after presidential immunity? When they circumvented the Supreme Court with that unconstitutional student loan bailout? That's their policy?
I mean, look, Joe Biden's rich to talk about presidential immunity. His family will go down in history as the most corrupt political family in the history of the United States. I mean, our investigation's proven they've taken tens of millions of dollars from our adversaries around the world, and they never paid a penny of taxes on it, and Joe Biden was in on it from the start. With respect to term limits, I mean, Joe Biden's been in politics since before I was born. I mean, he comes out for term limits now on his very last breath of his political career. I've always supported term limits, by the way, and I support term limits for everyone in Washington. But I think it's pretty hypocritical that Joe Biden, whose whole career has been in politics, whose career will be stained in the history books because of the corruption of his family, now comes out with a major initiative at the very end of his term as president to prevent presidential immunity in the future and to have term limits. So I don't think the American people are buying it. It's too little, too late for Joe Biden. He's already had a career record that's been negative to the American people.
Okay, so let's back up. So now they want to just push around and bully the Supreme Court after Vice President Harris is basically carried to the 10-yard line and now is the top of the ticket, even though she got no delegates. In 2 election cycles, she got 0 votes. She was put in by party elites and donors, not the voters. And since then, Kamala Harris has not done one major interview nor press conference. She's doing teleprompter speeches. Let's back up. Let's listen to this. Congressman, let's get your reaction to this auto worker from Michigan. And you're going to hear from James Carville and also David Brooks on the giddiness over the Kamala Harris being the top of the ticket is overblown. Watch this.
Does Kamala Harris getting in the race change the equation at all for either of you?
Change it? It ruins it. If she gets in, we're done. So
I don't know what.
America's done for.
I got to be the curmudgeon. I have to be the skunk at the garden party. This is too triumphalist, okay? This is everybody's giddy. This kind of giddy elation is not going to be very helpful much longer, because that's not what we're going to be faced with.
Because the Kamala Harris of 2020 was a terrible, terrible candidate. And frankly, if you go back to the Democratic conventional wisdom about Kamala Harris 18 months ago, it was failed vice president. How do we get her off the ticket? And so the Democratic Party has shifted, and I don't know whether this is mass hypnosis or they think, oh, she really has grown.
What do you think, Congressman? Final word.
I think James Carville's the only Democrat I see on TV that has any common sense. He's absolutely right. The Democrats hated Kamala Harris. They didn't want her on the ticket. Now they're trying to reinvent history and say she wasn't the border czar and she's popular and she's got this massive influx of suspicious money in Act Blue. I'm not buying it. I don't think she has as much support as Joe Biden. I think her record's even worse than Joe Biden's. I think Donald Trump will successfully define her over the next 2 months.
Chairman James Comer, a pleasure having you on tonight. It's great to see you again.